There you are. All right, welcome to another episode of Frags and Beer Radio News. Thanks for joining us on the live show if you're here. As usual, I'm joined by my co-host, Russell Michaels. Welcome, sir.
Hello.
And we got a big, full-packed show of a lot of nice little tidbits and cool geek news, and then a little bit of a big thing, but hopefully not too big as we go down the road. We don't have a guest tonight, so we're going to jump right into it. But before I do, if you're watching the recorded show as opposed to the live show, please subscribe to the channel if you like our content. We love you guys. We're 43 away now from our 100 subscriber goal. If you're watching the live show, thank you for joining us. Please join the chat, ask questions, let us know what you think about the show. If you're hearing any weird sound issues, Russell's hearing something on his end. So if you guys hear it, let me know. I can make sure to tweak some stuff. But yeah, that's the nature of a live show. So we're going to jump right into it, folks, with some interesting and I don't know, this is kind of silly. I pulled it out because it's related to some geek stuff, but I think it's really silly. The UN has made Wonder Woman the UN ambassador for the empowerment of women and girls, and 600. There's a petition started by UN staff members to stop this. Because they think Wonder Woman is overtly sexualized. She's too American. One quote I read is that she wears an American flag, and she's too white, she's too American, she's too sexy, and should not represent the world when it comes to the empowerment of women and girls. It's like an honorary title. I'm sure it's going to go into some sort of probably literature, probably a book or something that the UN puts out to talk about girls in STEM or girls going to college or making sure that women have a fair shake in certain parts of the world where they don't necessarily have that. I mean, they've been doing that with comic book characters for a while. I've seen lots of ads for whether they be world organizations or the UN or a lot of things with different comic book characters. And I don't know about you, but Wonder Woman's probably one of the most recognizable female superheroes in the world. And it's her 75th anniversary from her creation. So it's just, I don't know.
It seems pretty much her. When it comes to female superheroes, I can't really think of anybody who rises to her level.
Yeah, she was one of the first. She's the most recognizable. I mean, she was played by the still beautiful Linda Carter. I mean, just I don't know. It's just silly. It's silly that so many people are protesting it. It's just literally a PR thing for the UN to get girls interested in whatever issues they're going to talk about for this. And I'm really not sure who better to get young girls interested in something if they're going to go to comic book characters. I'm not really sure who else is better. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure a lot of little girls like Wonder Woman. I see a lot of little girls dressed up as Wonder Woman when I go to conventions, so I don't know. It just seems kind of weird, right?
Yeah, it does.
So that's it. I mean, like I said, a little bit of silly tidbit news out of the world stage, so to speak. Kind of silly protest, but there you have it, folks. There's got to be something to be outraged about. So I guess that's going to be it. And that's so do you want to save the Pokemon stuff for later, or do you want to jump into the trailers now?
We can talk about it. Yeah.
Go ahead.
The demo came out last Tuesday, I believe. And it released with it. No, wait. Maybe even. Was it last? I think it. Let me just check to make sure. Yeah, it was last. Yeah, it was last Tuesday because it's a month. Last Tuesday was the 18th. It's a week from the release. I mean, a month from the release. And they were able. The demo got hackers went into the demo and were able to find the entire Pokedex for the game. For some reason, Nintendo put the entire Pokedex for the real game in the demo. For some reason, I mean, I played the demo. It's like a half an hour long.
This is Sun and Moon, right?
You only get two. Pokemon Sun and Moon. You only get two Pokemon to use in the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
None of them are new Pokemon. I just don't get why they put the entire Pokedex on it.
Yeah.
We know that there are 87 Kanto Pokemon, 30 Johto Pokemon, 33 Hoenn Pokemon, 29 Sinnoh Pokemon, 28 Unova Pokemon, 14 Kalos Pokemon, and we know every single Pokemon from the Alola region. And we also know all of the Alolan form Pokemon. These are Pokemon that were brought from other regions, all from the first generation Kanto, that evolved once they got to the Alolan region. So we got like an Executor with a really long neck that's Dragon type. We got a Fire Ghost Marowak. We got that kind of stuff. So we know everything that's going on in this game. We don't know all the details, but we have an idea. It looks like they're getting rid of HM moves, which should be fun. Looks like they're going to be situational. You summon a Pokemon, will do X for you, like break boulders or move boulders, things like that. It's just good to know what we're going into. We know the types of we know the final evolutions of the starters and the types, so we can make an informed decision when we pick our starter. That's always a good thing.
Looks like there's an otter that looks like Donald Trump.
Yeah, I know people that was story. They announced that it's not. There's like that's just a coincidence, which it likely is because the hair isn't completely like it, and he does. If he had the face of Donald Trump, like he had the lips thing that he does.
Yeah, I can't see it.
It's got a toothy scowl.
Okay.
That seriously, that made news. People were talking about that.
It will. That's funny.
The biggest thing that made news was Alolan Dugtrio came out on the leak, and he's got Fabio. They've got Fabio hair, and that set the internet on fire.
Nice.
The internet was really happy about that.
Gotcha.
But we don't know all the details. The leak wasn't able to give us types of everything. So some of the Pokemon, we don't know what Alolan Dugtrio's type is. Something obvious, maybe Fairy type. I don't know. But we'll find out inevitably when the game comes out on November 18th. I've already pre-ordered it. It's going to be good. It's going to be good times.
Cool. So yeah.
It's seemingly also confirmed that the Ultra Beasts, which is some big confusion thing that we don't really know about, they seem to be Pokemon. It seems to have confirmed that they are in fact Pokemon.
Gotcha.
So there was a thing in the air that maybe they weren't Pokemon, but seems to confirm that they are Pokemon.
Well, there you have it. If you are a Pokemon fan, like Russell is, there's your info. If you haven't heard it yet, check it out. There's a couple different articles about it with the pictures, and you can go see all the different Pokemon you can expect. So I guess to roll right into upcoming console news. Actually, let's talk about the two big trailers that hit this week. I think both of them hit this week. Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which I had forgotten to watch until just a few minutes ago. I'd seen the poster. I forgot to watch the trailer. The poster was off. First thing I saw was the poster. It looks like an 80s album cover, which I love. I absolutely love the poster, and I love that Baby Groot, standing there behind his leg, holding on. I thought the poster was awesome. Then I watched the trailer, and it's just a teaser. It's just a little tidbit of what we're going to see, but it looks great. It looks like...
Talking about the black and white poster?
Yeah. Does that not look like a 80s rock band album cover?
Yes, it does.
I love it. But yeah, the trailer just hits every point on the nose and really makes it look like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is going to meet expectations as far as being like the first one and being funny, a fun adventure, a fun space adventure, which don't change the formula. They did it right the first time, so hopefully they can pull it off again, right?
Got the same director, so it shouldn't be hard.
I hope so.
Where did you see Groot in the poster?
Look down toward the bottom.
Is it just a little tendril that's sticking up?
No, he's down behind. As long as you're looking at the right poster, the full length one, it's behind Star-Lord's leg.
Oh, okay.
Look at him standing there holding on to.
I might have to look at a more full length picture of it.
Yeah, make sure you can see all the way to the bottom of their feet.
That's why I'm not seeing that part of the poster.
Yes, there it
is. Yeah,
there you go.
There it is.
He's just kind of hanging out there. It's really cool looking.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything that stood out like as oh my god in the trailer. Like it was just a lot of little flashes of really cool stuff. I didn't see anything that jumped out at me as a major spoiler yet or a major key thing yet. Did you notice anything that just kind of?
No, There's nothing. We do know that Groot does not retain the memories for some reason.
Okay.
So they're going with that for the way it works. So all we know is that the girl who lost her arm at the end of the last movie's in it, and Yondu's in it, and the rest of them, and the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
Really, all we know at this point.
Yep. That's
also seems to be a bunch of guys got screwed. You see Yondu walking on like a catwalk, and there's like 50 to 100 dudes like falling on either side of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Something's
happened there.
Something major. Yep. So we don't know a whole lot there. The other trailer
falling
that
in
hit.
Slow motion.
Yes. Yeah, I did see that. It was very cool. It was very well timed to the music, too. The Logan trailer looks like, God, if they pull this off, it looks like we're going to get the Wolverine movie we've been wanting for years.
Yeah, a good one. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I mean, it looks incredible. Hugh Jackman, even looking older, looks great. We're going to see Patrick Stewart in his last role as Professor Xavier, so he says, and Wolverine and Hugh Jackman is his last run at Wolverine. So they're both going to wrap up.
Xavier's going to die, right? We all think from that trailer that Xavier's going to die.
It looks like it. And if this is set in the future, this is what and here there's some great things in it, and then there's some things that worry me about the future of the franchise because of this movie. I like that. See, when we saw the original poster, you saw him holding a child's hand. Now we know it's a girl, and we know the girl's name is Laura. So we know it's
it's almost 100% likely X-23.
Oh yeah, because that's her name, Laura. Unless it's just a huge coincidence, that's X-23.
She's like you, a lot like.
Exactly. What worries
me?
It's
like 99.9%.
Yeah.
Likely.
Oh yeah, and her name's Laura, and she's like, yeah. If it's not her, then they've really missed something major.
Maybe they'll throw her timeline forward 10 years, and we'll get an X-23 movie after this.
Right, that's what kind of worries me, because this is in Logan's future, and we all know Logan ages slower than anybody else, and he does say that all the mutants are gone, except for Xavier. We see him in there. And we know he has his powers because we see a couple scenes in the trailer where Xavier is using some of his powers at least. So not all the mutants are gone, but Logan seems to think maybe all of them but Xavier and himself are gone. We know Laura's a clone, so if they stick to the comic book thing, Laura does not have to be a naturally conceived mutant because she's a clone of Wolverine. So going forward, is Laura going to be the only mutant in the X-23 franchise that we can all expect is coming? I mean, Wolverine is a really popular character. Hugh Jackman doesn't want to play him anymore. Replacing him with somebody else is probably not a good move, at least for the next probably not yet, probably not 10 or 15 years. But to keep the franchise alive, they need to replace him with somebody. So X-23 is the most logical choice. But does that mean her movie is just she's going to be the only mutant, and then who is she going to fight? Or is that him just saying all of the mutants he knows are gone? I'm really worried where they're going to go with. Are they going to go into Wolverine's future where all the mutants are dead and the world is run by bad guys? Or, like I said, is he just lamenting that all of his friends are dead, but not necessarily every mutant in the world is gone? So I don't know. That kind of makes me worry. I think we're going to get an awesome movie, but I worry about the future of the franchise, the way this movie is deciding the future of mutants in that world. But the trailer was freaking, and the music choice, like you said before, the music choice spot on. Couldn't have been a better choice.
By Johnny Cash.
Yes. So watch the Logan trailer and the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 trailer if you haven't. Freaking awesome. I think you guys will love them. And so that's that. And then we want to talk about the console news that has hit recently. Everybody,
want to talk about Deadpool 2 for a second?
Oh, yeah. You had some news about Deadpool 2. Throw that out there.
Deadpool 2. The director of Deadpool, Tim Miller, was his first directorial debut, ended up being a smash hit, has left the sequel of Deadpool 2, because of creative differences apparently with Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, really?
We won't know more probably for a few more weeks. We won't. He'll probably want to talk about it at some point, but we
Yeah,
haven't really found any new details yet. But
that's interesting.
it's not good. They were a
No.
very good combination for the first one, so hopefully they're able to reclaim that magic in the sequel.
Yeah, that does actually. I am worried about because I know that Ryan going into the first Deadpool was a stickler for certain point. There were certain key elements that had to happen, or he wasn't going to do it. Like he had to wear the mask almost all the time. They had to do the Deadpool suit. He wasn't going to do some sort of, movie version of the Deadpool suit or some sort of inspired by. He wanted the Deadpool suit. There were certain things that had to be there, or he wasn't going to do it. So, I mean,
it's because he wanted a stylized action sequel. Reynolds wanted more of the humor-based tone of the first one. Okay, so maybe it's a good idea that Tim Miller's gone.
Maybe, yeah. Like we said with Guardians of the Galaxy, don't change the formula if it works. That's usually what happens to sequels a lot of times. That's what kills sequels.
And it was apparently also because of Cable's casting. Tim
Oh,
Miller wanted Kyle Chandler, who was from Friday Night Lights. Reynolds did not want it, and won with the studio.
so I'm not sure who Kyle Chandler is. So let's look this up. Kyle
He was
Chandler.
on Friday Night Lights.
I did not watch
the main
that
character
show.
on Friday Night.
Oh, no, he's not Cable.
Yeah. People want guy from Avatar, Papa Dragon. They want that guy.
He's a good choice. There's other good choices too, but not this guy. I mean, I like Kyle Chandler. I like stuff that he's been in, but he's not Cable.
Yeah, he doesn't fit the profile.
No, he doesn't look
Realize
at
the amount of jacked he'd have to get in the next
Yeah, he's always been he's always had this kind of everyman kind of home, like next door neighbor kind of look to him. Cable is a very much a rugged. No, this guy won't work. No.
Who do you think who should they cast? Other than everybody wants what's his name?
Yeah, the guy from Avatar.
They want the guy from Don't Breathe and Avatar.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, Stephen Lang. Everybody wants
Yes. Stephen Lang. Who else? There was a couple of other guys that I really liked. Let me see if I can find them because I'm horrible with names. But yeah, I'm glad that Ryan Reynolds went out because he would be an awful choice. I do like the idea of Lang, and I know he wants to do it. There was another. Who
are they going to get to direct it? That's the question. Who are they going to? I mean, people want Tarantino for some reason.
Why Tarantino doesn't do funny?
Yeah, well, he does quippy dialogue. He doesn't do the kind of humor that Deadpool is known for.
No, yeah, it would be too. Oh God, a Tarantino Deadpool movie would be terrible. That's a hard choice to cast Cable because he's such. He
has to be an old guy, but they have to possibly have him in several movies.
Yeah,
so, I don't
can't
know
be that old.
It's a balancing act.
Can't be that old. Yeah, that's a hard choice, and I'm not sure who else. I like the look of Stephen Lang. He's healthy enough to do it. He's got the look. He's old enough to do it. That's a good question. Who could play him? There's a couple of the guys out there I think could pull it off. But I can't keep Stephen Lang's face out of my head. I mean, I've seen it too many times now tied to Cable.
Yeah. Also, we're supposed to believe that I saw Avatar. I don't know if you did.
Yes.
Stephen Lang dies in that movie. He's apparently going to be in all 4 sequels to Avatar. His character died in the movie. How did they do that?
Avatar didn't make sense to begin with, so who knows?
It's a horrible movie.
Oh yeah, it was.
Like the unobtainium. He's describing the product unobtainium while he's holding it, which means he has obtained it.
Right. So it's not all that hard to obtain.
Know.
Yeah, that was so dumb. So yeah, that's that. That's what we got with superhero news coming up. Some exciting stuff. Looking forward to some good movies.
You want to hit the console news or the YouTube Red news first?
Well, let's go ahead and start these since we're talking about shows and movies. And this is your baby because you watch these guys. What we got coming out from Game Grumps and them?
Yeah, Game Grumps. Game Grumps, they're the YouTube Let's Play series. They are going to be in a Dan Harmon produced. Dan Harmon is the guy who created Community and is also one of the co-creators of Rick and Morty. Adult Swim. They're making a YouTube Red series. Going to be 6 episodes. The first episode will be free on the Game Grumps channel. It will resolve around esports competitions. So it's going to be a possibly mockumentary style approach. I don't know if they have explicitly determined the tone of that one yet, but yeah, it's going to be fun. I love Game Grumps. I love their style of comedy, and I like Dan Harmon. So it just seems to be a win-win for everybody involved.
Definitely.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it sounds interesting. If you guys are interested, there's an article on Eurogamer.net. Rick and Morty co-creator Dan Harmon's making a show about esports. So yeah, it looks like it'll be interesting. YouTube is really, I mean, it's still chugging along despite some of the issues that it's been having recently. You know, there's mixed thoughts on YouTube Red. Maybe this show will do a good thing, maybe by getting a market for it or opening up the market for it. So we'll see. It's certainly good news for you guys who are fans of Game Grumps and like Dan Harmon's work and enjoy YouTube, YouTube shows altogether. So yeah, then in the console news, going back to Engadget, I'm really starting to like Engadget.com for their looks at just gadgets and geekery. And everybody knows the Nintendo stuff. We're going to talk about the Nintendo here in a second, and we keep bringing up, I think this is the third time we've talked about the PlayStation 4 Pro, because and this is probably exactly what Sony's intending to do, but they keep trickling out little bits of information here and there about the PlayStation 4 Pro. But we do finally have an article from an article about an interview from Mark Cerny, who's the architect, the guy who designed the PS4, been in the gaming industry forever. And he talked about the 4 at September event for Sony. This is the PS4 Pro, explained by the man who designed it. He's actually getting into the nuts and bolts of what is going to make up the PlayStation 4 Pro, what the differences are between it and the PlayStation 4. He says not everything is actually going to be on 4K at release, because not everything is designed to run at 4K, but it will have that capability. That does mean that if I understand right, that does mean that it will play 4K video when that becomes more relevant. Then again, there'll probably be a PlayStation 5 by the time that becomes a mass market format. They do say PS4 Pro is not the start of a new generation, so it's not like this is going to be a PlayStation 4.5 and the PlayStation 5 is just going to be a slightly better upgrade from this, is what it sounds like anyway. And there was something else really important that I saw when I pulled this article out, and then it doesn't have the PlayStation 4 Pro is not going to have significantly more memory or CPU power. So it is really a slim version that runs some stuff on 4K, and is actually going to cost, say, $100 more than the Slim, which is also coming out soon. So that's I guess where you got to decide. If you already own a PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 4 Pro might not be the thing for you. But if you're about to buy a 4 and you're weighing the options between a PlayStation 4 and a PlayStation Slim, this may be it, because it is going to have an 8-core AMD CPU, which is in the standard model. It won't have the brand new CPU, which is going to be what they put in the next generation. So yeah, this might be good for you guys who are about to buy a PlayStation 4, or you guys who wait on the market and decide later. The PlayStation 4 might be for you. But
yeah, I don't have a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One because there's not enough good exclusives on them.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Worth the investment.
I'm the same way with my PC. I really have no use for a PC that plugs into my TV. There's just not enough on them that makes me want to buy one. But this one might. The Nintendo Switch was
Yep.
just announced this week, or actually it's been announced, but it was just shown to us. We finally know what it looks like. We have known now for a little while, or at least we suspected due to some leaks and little bits of information out there, we have known for a little while that it was going to be some sort of hybrid console handheld device or something sort of like that. And I guess that's a natural evolution from what the Wii U was anyway, because the Wii U had the controller with the screen on it. So the Nintendo Switch, we finally know what it looks like. It looks kind of like a cute little puppy dog whose ears you pull off and shove into the side of a tablet. So I'm looking. I can't get that image out of my head.
From what I understand, it looks like the tablet is in a touchscreen. I don't know if they've confirmed it's a touchscreen or not yet.
I don't know. I don't know a whole lot of tablets that aren't, but I suppose that's a feature that could be easily turned on or
It's
off.
much more lighter weight than the Wii U gamepad. That's what we know. It looks
That's
significantly lighter
good
weight.
because it is a large thing. What I'm happy to see is the controllers are not some flat. I mean, they've actually, again, I've talked about this before with carpal tunnel, and anybody out there who has carpal tunnel knows what I'm talking about. Pinching things between your thumb and first finger, like a phone or a tablet, even magazines, reading magazines over a long period of time can get painful. Reading books over a long period of time gets painful. Playing on a game controller that was flat, like the original one we saw looked like a cell phone screen with a couple little pads on it. There's no way I could play a game on something like that for more than a little bit at a time because my wrists and my hands would just get too sore. So I'm glad to see that this controller looks more like a traditional Nintendo controller. It's got sort of grips on the back of it. It looks a little bit bulkier, a little thicker, which keeps your hand open, which is what people with carpal tunnel need for extended periods of time. We can't pinch stuff, so it can't be flat. It looks like obviously it's going to be, from what I understand, it's going to be a switch on the fly. I guess maybe that's what the name implies, but from what it looks like, you could be playing the game while it's docked in the console dock on the TV, and then decide you want to get up and go somewhere, and you take the controller apart, slide the sides onto the tablet, pull it out of the dock, and the game seamlessly transfers to that screen, and you keep on going.
Far more mobile version of the Wii U.
Yeah.
The Wii U, you had the ability to do that, but you couldn't get too far from the console.
Right.
I understand, and I read about it.
Yeah.
This one, you can go fully on the go with it.
Yep, because the console
is
the console is the tablet, so to speak, which makes sense. Tablets have gotten so powerful now that really all the console is in the Switch is the docking station and probably the transformer for the power and maybe a memory card. But then again, we're looking at SIM cards as the cartridge based game medium for the Switch, and with SIM cards being so big now, I mean, most of your average games run 10 to 12, maybe 15 gig. Some games like Battlefield 4 and Fallout 4 and a couple others approach the 30 and 40 gig mark. But it's not outside the realm of possibility that we're going to go back to your saved games being right there on the cartridge with the game, not needing a hard drive built into the console to save information. It may have a hard drive built in, but it's entirely likely that your Zelda save games are just going to be on the cartridge, and you could take it over to a buddy's house and play it there too if you wanted to, just like we used to, which is a good thing. I think that would be fantastic.
Yes, it would.
So yeah, we don't know a ton yet. I don't think we know. We don't know what the specs are. We just know what it looks like. We know how it's going to work. They did announce a lot of the game companies that are going to be involved in publishing: 505, Activision, Atlas, Bandai Namco, of course, Bethesda, Capcom, Electronic Arts. And remember some of these names I'm throwing out there. Activision, Electronic Arts. Let's see, Konami's on here. Nipponichi. we got Sega. We got some great Square Enix, tons and tons of titles that we're familiar with. Ubisoft, THQ. So it looks like they've got a good partnership with a lot of great developers and publishers who have given us a lot of great Nintendo games in the past. So this I'm actually very interested in. I haven't had a Nintendo since the GameCube. So, this could be what gets me back.
GameCube was a really good console. It's probably my favorite console. I
liked it. I mean, I was more Nintendo 64 was probably one of my favorites, but the GameCube was great. I all the way back to the 8-bit. I had an 8-bit when it first released, so this could get me back on a Nintendo console as long as they release some good titles. So yeah, that's your information, folks. I'm actually reading that on Nintendo.com. I'm sure some other articles out there go into some more detail or more speculation, but the article on Nintendo.com gives you exactly what you're going to see, gives you an image of it, and the list of publishers and developers that are going to be involved. So that list of publishers and developers, remember that, because that's important to our next and last story, which I guess has been coming for 2 years. We've been hearing rumblings about the voice actors who do the voices in our video games are not happy. I guess they've been negotiating with the major video game developers over the last almost 2 years now, 18, 19 months or something like that, to try to modify the contracts for voice actors for video games. And I actually listened to Oliver Campbell talk about this on his podcast, and I got to remember the guy's name, so the podcast, because it just starts a new podcast out there, and they actually talked to a voice actor who did the narration for Darkest Dungeon, and he gave a fairly good breakdown of what it takes to be a voice actor, what the job entails. So it gave me a little bit more insight into how this works. The podcast is called Metro City Boys, and it's their second podcast where they talk to the narrator for Darkest Dungeon. So go check that out. If you guys aren't sure how video game voice actors work, what their job entails, what's involved, check that out. I think it's at about the 38 minute mark, where they start talking to him about what it takes to be a voice actor. The article I found is on Vice, actually motherboard.vice.com. Voice actor strike is a powder keg for video game industry labor issues. And I actually have an article coming out hopefully tonight on Real Women of Gaming, where I put a little bit of my thoughts into this and where I feel it's I think some of what they're asking for makes sense, and some of what they're asking for does not make sense to me. The big thing that they're asking for that definitely makes sense for me is working conditions, or they termed it safety, and I had to ask around to figure out what this meant, because I'm like, what kind of safety is involved for a guy sitting in a chair talking into a microphone? I'm doing that right now. And unless I drink too much and put the microphone down my throat, I can't really think of any safety issues.
That's one of their complaints, is that they wanted compensation for straining of their voice.
Yes.
Like they have to do screaming, or they do certain voices that mess with their voice. I can understand that.
Yes,
that
absolutely.
Makes perfect sense. But the stipend for a game selling well enough. First of all, I don't know what the profit structure is for a major studio film versus a video game. Right. Imagine a video game's budget can be subsequently higher. I'm not sure. Maybe if they make a profit, they could possibly work out not a bonus structure, but a profit sharing structure.
Right.
That would make more sense than a strict bonus.
Yeah.
You don't know it could end up blowing all the profits of the game.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah, what they're talking about for that with the safety stuff, the other issue too is that a lot of times they're asked to do motion capture along with the voice acting. And oftentimes they're asked to do stunts or fight sequences without a trained stunt coordinator on set, and they're asking for that, and that makes sense. If you're going to ask somebody whose normal day-to-day job requires them to sit in an office and talk into a microphone all day, if you're going to ask them to start swinging a fake sword and jumping off of things and running around, you might consider having a professional stunt coordinator available to help them make sure they're doing those things safely. That I understand. That's totally a work-related safety thing. That would be just like having somebody on a job site making sure that whoever's running the forklift for the first time knows how to drive the damn thing. That stuff makes sense. But like you're saying, the monetary compensation, to put it into perspective, and I know that voice actors are offended by this, but don't blame the gamers that we don't know who you are most of the time. The studios do not, they don't put voice actors' names on the game box. They don't advertise the game with Golden Globe nominated voice actor blah 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 doing the main kit. We don't know that. The only two voice actors.
The only famous voice actor I know is Nolan North. That's it.
Yeah. I know Tara Strong because she does cartoons. I don't know, and I think
she wasn't famous for video games. I'm talking about people who are strictly famous for video games.
Right.
The only one I can think of is Nolan North, who did the voice of Drake, and he's done a shit ton of
exactly.
Video games. It's like a ridiculous
and
amount of video game voices.
The only names I know now are the ones I've looked up doing the article I recently wrote, and the only ones from my library that I know aren't even video game voice actors. I know Linda Carter from Fallout 4. And I know Ron Perlman from Fallout New Vegas. But those are both actors who I knew before they were in video games and whose voices are pretty recognizable. So the studios don't advertise that. And they're asking for a similar compensation that what an actor gets. Not similar as in quantity, but similar as in structure. The compensation an actor gets for drawing people to a movie. Now, I know for a fact lots of people go see movies because of the actors that are in them. I know I do. If I see a movie that I'm not sure about, but let's say Ryan Reynolds is. I've seen romantic comedies that I really don't like, but I went to see them because Ryan Reynolds was in them, and I liked them because I like him. Now, I couldn't name a voice actor in any of the games in my library. So I'm not drawn to that. I don't go buy a game based on a voice actor. So I don't see why they deserve a draw sort of compensation.
They're not marquee. They're not marquee actors.
Now, if the marketing companies maybe did it differently and started putting their names on the boxes and started making their names recognizable in the market to the gamers, that could change. I do know some gamers buy based on voice actors. Some of them become familiar with voice actors, but it's not a huge margin.
It's not common. It's not a common practice.
So what they're asking for...
You buy for characters.
Yes.
Games you buy for characters.
Graphics. Did the company make the last game good? Was their last game buggy? That's the kind of considerations most gamers make.
Or you buy for company.
Yeah. Or not buy. Some people will not buy an EA game, for example, no matter who's in it. But what they're asking for, to put this into perspective, and this may not seem like a lot to them, and I'm not trying to belittle what voice actors do or voice actors make, but put this into perspective of a gamer. A voice actor makes $825 on average in a 4-hour session. That is almost a week's worth of pay for me. That's just shy of the national average of a week's worth of pay for a family. A developer... And in these, I got these numbers when I wrote this article, but a developer averages $39 an hour. A voice actor makes $206 an hour for working 4 hours at a stretch, sometimes 8 hours at a stretch, but they don't put in the 60 to 80 hours that a game developer puts in to get a game out on time. So when we're talking about compensation, I really think we're looking at the wrong spectrum when it comes to money. Developers work crazy hours. And yes, their salary's big. $83,000 a year is the average salary for a video game developer. Now that's average. There are a lot that make less and a lot that make more than that, but that's the average. That's pretty good. But then again, a lot of those game developer jobs are in places in the country where $83,000 is not a lot of money. In California, $83,000 is not a lot of money. In the Midwest, where I live, $83,000 a year is a lot. Like that would sustain. That's twice what my family makes almost. But then you have to think about us. Like, what's going to happen to a game company when their budget goes up? Either they're gonna, what do? They either cut corners. We know they cut corners. They do it all the time to get a game out. We get buggy as shit games because they have to cut corners. Or they're going to raise the prices of video games. And I already know video games are really expensive for a lot of people. There are a lot of gamers out there that can't afford to buy games when they want to buy games because they don't have the money. So these voice actors want more money, which means the companies are either going to give us shittier games, they're going to cut out the voice acting, or they're going to raise the prices on us. We all know that's what's going to happen. The game companies are already, like, their profits have been down for like the last year and a half now. Still the largest money-making entertainment industry in the world, but they're slowly losing money. They're not making as much money as they have been over the last few years. So to recoup those costs, that's what they're going to do. And that seems to be the major sticking point of the strike. The strike seems to be hung up on this compensation. The voice actors either want an upfront bonus, or they want it to be an either or. Either the developer can pay them an upfront bonus, or the developer can opt to pay them a performance bonus if the game sells 2 million copies. And then the bonus would be based on these 2 million copy increments at a cap of 8 million copies. So either way, they want the company to give them part of the profits for a game that makes a lot of money for something that doesn't make the game sell a lot of units. That's the thing. Their voice acting doesn't sell a ton of units. That's... I hate to break it to these guys, but you don't know who they are and how good their voice acting is until you buy the game. We don't buy the game because of who's doing the voice acting. So it's not like me telling my buddy, hey, the voice acting in this game is really... I've never once told a friend of mine, hey, the voice acting in this game is amazing. You need to go buy it. That's never been a factor, you know? So... I don't know. I hope this gets resolved quickly. I hope everybody comes out of it happy, and I hope we don't get screwed, which I think is what will happen. One way or another, we're going to get screwed in the deal. But yeah, it's not, like I said, there are some issues they need to discuss. After like I said, go listen to Oliver's podcast. Listen to that voice actor talk about what it takes to do his job. It's not just as easy as sitting in a chair and talking into a microphone. There is some issues with repetitive, like you said. They have to scream a lot. Sometimes they have to scream, multiple times over the course of hours to get several different takes of several different types of screams, and then they have to yell, and then they have to do this, and they have to repeat their lines, and then the motion capture stuff, which to me is strange. Like, you're gonna ask somebody that may not be a stunt person to do what a stunt person normally does for movies. That seems kind of out of whack, maybe. I don't know. Like, you don't see, unless an actor has a really good insurance policy or they have a strict rule about doing their own stunts, you don't see a lot of movie stars doing their own stunts, even for motion capture. It's usually a stunt double. So that seems kind of strange. But I'm pretty sure that the developers were in agreement on that one, that there was something to be done there. So... we'll see how it goes. It's definitely a hot topic on the internet, but like I said, I think we might wind up being the ones that they get screwed. And the developers, I think they're gonna get kind of screwed when it all comes down to it.
Yeah.
So that's about it for what we had to talk about. Thanks for listening to the show. Do we have anything else? What are you watching right now? What are new fall shows?
The Walking Dead premiered on Sunday.
Yes.
I'm not gonna spoil anything.
If
you got on the internet the last 2 days, you probably heard about it already. But just go watch it.
Yes.
One of the best hours of the show in its history. It's really well done. and
Yes.
you just will go watch it. The Flash and Arrow are both back. They're both really good. I'm not watching Supergirl, and I'm not watching Legends of Tomorrow. I still got to catch up with Legends of Tomorrow. I gave
Yeah.
up on Supergirl.
Yeah.
But what else is back? Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is back, and apparently
Yep.
Ghost Rider's good, but I stopped
Yep.
watching it like 3 episodes into last season, so I'll get into it maybe.
Yeah, I'm
Scream
enjoying.
Queens,
Go ahead.
you were in the middle of a sentence.
I was gonna say I am enjoying Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Ghost Rider. I think so far this has been the best season that they've run. I am a Ghost Rider fan though, so I mean that helps. And I do like how they've done Ghost Rider. I think I talked about it on the last show. They've done a real good job with the effects, which really worried me when I saw this was going to be about Ghost Rider. I thought, oh crap, they're either going to really screw it up or they're not even going to try, both of which would be really bad. Dirk Gently.
I heard about that.
It was. I haven't laughed that hard at a TV show in a long time.
I'll have to check it out.
And I was thoroughly confused by the end of the first episode, and I love that because if you've ever read Douglas Adams, anybody out there, if you haven't read Douglas Adams, go fucking read Douglas Adams. Imagine reading chapter 1 of any one of his books. That's what episode 1 of this show is like. We have so many leads to so many story hooks, and I don't know what the hell's going on yet. Like, I'm so thoroughly confused, and I love it, and I laughed, and yeah, I was worried that they were going to really screw it up, but they nailed it. It was a great episode. I'm looking forward to the rest. They said The Walking Dead was. I know that the internet is hot with it. I see a lot of people like, "Oh, you're still watching The Walking Dead." Don't be snotty little. Don't be like that. Why do you
It's
gotta?
the most watched show on television.
Yeah,
okay?
and there are people out there that think
on
it's
cable.
right, and there are people out there that think it's not cool to be the ones, they think it's cool to not be watching it, and then they want to shit on people who do watch it. If you don't like the show, you don't like the show. It's not for everybody. That's cool. Don't crap on people for enjoying it. It's a good show. This season looks like we're gonna build up to some pretty epic character stuff going on. Hopefully they carry this stuff through and really show us some major character development, which I think has been missing. Honestly, I really enjoyed last season, and the season before that was pretty good, but I think we haven't seen as much of the character development as we had seen in the previous seasons. So hopefully this will build them back up into like a really dynamic group of characters with a lot of different cool stuff going on.
Still talking about The Walking Dead?
Yeah. Did I lose you for a
make
sec?
sure here. Yeah, the sixth season I didn't feel had as big of problems. The second season is pretty much, if I was binge watching it, that season I might have stopped watching if I was binging it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a show that I've watched on a week-to-week basis. I've never binged.
Yeah.
There's certain shows that work better as a binge show, and there's shows that work better as a week-to-week show. This is apparently one of the shows that works better week-to-week.
Yeah.
You want to discuss this with people. You wanted to talk about this episode.
Right.
You want to talk about this after every episode.
Yep, definitely.
Kind of show.
And what was I gonna say? There's a couple more shows on Netflix. We got some good stuff coming out, and that's about it. I mean, we don't have anything else new announced. We got 50 days to Rogue One.
And we have less than 2 weeks to Doctor Strange.
Yes, Doctor Strange. I'm excited for that. I'm actually excited for Fantastic Beasts. So lots of cool geek stuff coming out.
Hacksaw Ridge is coming out.
Yes.
It's directed by Mel Gibson.
That looks good.
Yeah, directed by, and also another Andrew Garfield, because Andrew Garfield's the main character in that one. He's doing another movie, a Scorsese film that is apparently Scorsese's like passion project. He's wanted to do for like 10 or 20 years.
Huh.
And that's coming out some point, either late in the year or early next year.
Cool.
It's coming out in time for Oscars, obviously, but I don't know if it'll get a wide release until the beginning of next year.
Very cool.
But yeah, it's about Christian missionaries going to China, Asia in the 17th century, I think, or something like that.
Interesting. That could be cool.
Yeah, Scorsese. It's interesting. I don't know where it's gonna go, but it's people who've seen it. I think it's been shown at maybe 1 or 2 film festivals, maybe. and
Nice.
people are saying it's amazing, or what people have seen of it are saying it's amazing. So I'll definitely see that. Scorsese's a gifted filmmaker.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And oh, pardon me, beer's getting to me. So hey, yeah,
Al Pacino. Al Pacino's finally doing a mobster movie with Scorsese. By the way, they announced that.
oh, very nice, very nice. All right, so yeah, that wraps up our show. Before I go, as usual, if you did watch the whole live show, thank you so much. We appreciate it. If you're watching the recorded show and you like our content, please subscribe, comment it, let us know what you think. My article did hit on Real Women of Gaming, so go check that out. Video game voice actor strike and support is mixed. That's the latest Tuesday piece from me on Real Women of Gaming. I'll be tweeting that link out here in a sec. And come back Saturday where I'm playing Battlefield 1 story. It'll be episode 2 of the single player for Battlefield 1. And that's pretty much it. Guys, if you're still here, I love you. You guys have a great rest of your week, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.